A first edition base set booster box recently sold for $432,000. Now, while that price is incredibly impressive and is in fact a record in and of itself, it is also an interesting retrace and pretty indicative of the Pokemon market at large. And so, in today's video, we'll talk about this particular sale that happened not too long ago and analyze its implications for the larger market. But before we do, let's roll that intro. Hey Gengar Gang, what is going on? My name is Ryan, this is the Analytic Gengar, and welcome to another video. In today's video, friends, we talk about the Pokemon First Edition base set booster box that recently sold on PWCC's website for the whopping grand total of $432,000. Really within the past week. So this is actually, at least at the time of the recording of this video, really not that long ago. And this video is also going to be going out on November 23rd. So with any luck, in theory, there should be something that has more or less been happening pretty much in real time. So, before I get started, as always, if you like today's video, definitely feel free to leave a like, and hey, if you're not already, feel free to subscribe to join the Gengar Gang. Other than that, the link to this Ludkins Media article will be down below, and within this article contains several hyperlinks, including one for the PWCC website, where this particular booster box sold, so definitely feel free to check any or all of those links out in case you want to see some of the source material. But without further ado, let's get into it. Go ahead and start scrolling. So, Ludkins writes that this box sold for a whopping total of $432,000 at a premier auction a week after the same box sold for $312 on Heritage Auction. So they immediately lead with probably what I think to be one of the two most important items to be said in this particular article. Now, notice the price differential between those two prices. There is a $120,000 price gap only a week apart. Now, some would argue that that's just the volatility of the current market, and frankly, I would care to agree that there are a multitude of reasons why one box may sell for a higher price than another box. And frankly, without seeing the two boxes side by side or really good pictures and video of the same, it would be really hard to tell you if condition was the only thing that drove those sale prices on these boxes. However, I do think it's probably one of the greatest contributors to why one box sold for so much more than the other. The other thing is a little bit of price volatility. I think different people look at different auctions, and especially different auction houses. And I hate to say this, but Heritage Auctions kinda sits on the back end of the spectrum. What do I mean by that? It's unfortunately very likely that Heritage Auctions, because they cater more to the sports card crowd, is a little bit out of date, and so they don't quite attract the attention and the crowd that PWCC does, especially given the fact that PWCC really kind of still benefits from having been on eBay as a platform as long as they have. What does that basically mean? There were enough people who went from eBay all the way to PWCC and paid attention to this box, and I think that's another reason why it may have sold for a significant amount more than a similar box having been sold at Heritage Auctions. So, the article goes on to state, hey, there have been some registered sales from 300,000 all the way up to 450K, and this is definitely an interesting kind of band that we currently see this booster box sitting within. Now, bear in mind, Logan Paul just this year did a box break of this and averaged for about $40,000 a pack, meaning, theoretically at least, the price that those packs ended up selling for is now starting to catch up with the price of the booster box, or perhaps that should be said the other way around, where the price of the booster box is finally starting to reflect 36 packs at $40,000 each. Now, one of the arguments to be made about that $40,000 price is that, unfortunately, there were many factors that influenced why that price was that way. One could argue you were paying for the price of the booster pack itself, and then you were also paying for the publicity that came with being shouted out by Logan Paul. And a lot of commentators said that that was a very real reason why some of these packs sold for well above what the booster box would be worth sealed. Meaning, if you take the price of a sealed booster box and divide it by 36, that's usually a good metric for how much an individual booster pack unweighed would be worth. However, since $40,000 is well above that price point, it was assumed that there was a premium on these packs because Logan Paul was opening up your pack and not just some other random person. It's also very likely that many people fully knew and appreciated the fact that having Logan Paul open up a pack and shout your name out meant you could create content around it, you could bring it back to your channel, etc., etc. Effectively, it's a form of advertising. Now, the article actually goes on to note, right, mostly due to the target audience of crypto enthusiasts and allure of a shout out from Logan's 20 million subscriber base. There's 6 million views on that video, and then another 12 million views on his October 2020 video, meaning over 18 million people have witnessed the nostalgia of having those boxes opened up. Now, the box itself is obviously one of the higher end items within our hobby, definitely a top tier grail type collectible. And obviously, it's one of those things that is really just something that is so sought after, but is definitely so far up on the higher end of things that it's basically a, fake dream for many people. They can dream about it all they want, but it's very likely that most folks in the hobby will not be able to afford this box at that point. Now, it should also be said that there were boxes selling for $450,000 on Instagram as a private sale. There are many screenshots of this floating around, so it's not like there are any doubts as to the price, right? The highest price ever paid is $450,000. However, this article sensationalizes this particular sale by saying that it too is a record. And the reason it is a record is because it is a record for a recorded auction sale. Meaning, on any of the sites that you could bid, such as Heritage, eBay, etc., etc., this is the highest in that particular format this box has ever sold for. So here they make note of the fact that, hey, back in October 2020 it was $150K, now it's closer to the $400,000 mark, and this is for the PSA 10 Charizard, which is obviously something that you could theoretically pull out of the particular box. And then the article ends by leaving us with a quick snippet. How high can these boxes realistically go? And I think that's where I'm going to spend the back half of this video just kind of waxing philosophically. Now, over here on PWCC, here is the box itself. May I say, quite the really nice box. Very well put together, very clean, very crispy, made in the USA, very clean edges. The box looks phenomenal, and I think that is a major reason why the box sold for as much as it did. Now, as to the point that I was going to make a little bit ago, on top of the fact that the market tends to fluctuate a little bit, there's a couple things to remember. One, condition can be a great driver for why a box or an item or a card or realistically any collectible sells for more money or less money than a very identical item a few weeks before or after. The truth of the matter is, it can really just come down to the particular demand, right? There might have been someone out there with $432,000 to spend. It's just that they're not registered on Heritage, or they couldn't, be there because they were on vacation the week before. And because of that, they chose this to be the box that they would bid on, assuming both of them were, up to standard and up to par. So there's a lot of reasons why you can see that type of fluctuation. However, I think this is an overall good indicator of the health of the Pokemon TCG hobby. One of the things that has recently become a favorite point for everyone to throw out is that cryptocurrency investors flooded the 2020 Pokemon boom. And so there is a concern that many of the prices that we saw in 2020 were only so because of an influx of wealth that came from those particular investors. And since they were behaving like investors, they were willing to bid each other up and, more importantly, set consistently new high prices. However, Obviously, the market has come down since, and for a variety of reasons, prices are either dipping or stagnating, and it can be difficult to tell what exactly goes on. However, I think this particular auction is a really good indicator that, especially on the higher end and especially on the vintage side, things are sticking. And I think that's an important thing to note, because a lot of people would cast doubt on 2020 high prices. A lot of people were expecting a retrace. In case you don't know, a retrace is effectively where the price goes down or it retraces back to a previous all-time high, which is effectively at that point just a new low. And what's good is that we aren't seeing that about certain things. You're seeing EX Deoxys boxes stick around that plus $50,000 range. You're seeing EX Hold-On Phantoms hover right around $21,000. You're seeing this, which is definitely the most important of the booster boxes that I've just said, the first edition base set Shadowless box, hover plus $400,000. And I think those things are indicative of the overall health of the vintage Pokemon market. One of the most important things for any collector to bear in mind right now is that the vintage market and the modern market are behaving in two completely different ways. There's a lot of oscillation and volatility in the modern market that isn't necessarily there with the vintage market. And for many people, the most important thing that you can do with your vintage collectibles right now is buckle down, keep them safe, and stick around for about 5 years or so. And likely is the chance that within those 5 years, it'll be time very passively well spent. But with all that said, friends, thanks again for checking out another video. I appreciate you stopping by, and as always, I appreciate your viewership. You could have been anywhere on the internet, but you chose to spend some time with me, and that means the world. Couple random channel updates. There will be no video this Thursday here in the United States. Thursday is going to be Thanksgiving, so I figure take the time off to enjoy with family, and you should do the same. So there will be a video on Saturday. It's going to be PSA Graded Return number 2. Very excited about that. But yeah, so just a random update. And then definitely make sure to let me know down below. Did you get Brilliant Diamond or Shining Pearl? I got Shining Pearl myself. I literally just started it right before starting to make this video, so I am doing my absolute best to get up to speed as quick as possible and learn all the new mechanics. But let me know down below if you want to see a let's play or something of the sort. I'll see what I can do and try to figure that out. But as always, friends, other than that, thanks again for checking out another video. Definitely leave a like if you haven't already, and subscribe if you're not already a part of the Gengar Gang to join our happy little community. But other than that, friends, happy Thanksgiving to those celebrating, and we will talk soon. Peace.